I am rocking and rolling because I don't do what my guest Shane Phelps does. And Shane is used to it, so you're probably rocking and rolling too. Guys, I'm excited this week because we're going to peel back the curtain on what really goes on in a tax office during tax season. So, we're recording this on Friday, March 13th. The first big deadline of the year is coming up on Monday. That is the March 16th deadline to have entity returns either filed or extended. Then we come up to the April 15th deadline that we're all familiar with, individual returns either filed or extended. Then in fall, we're going to get another bite at the apple. There's a September 15th deadline for the entities that get extended this week. And then finally, October 15th for the 1040s that get extended next month. But people who aren't in the tax business think that someone who does taxes has no time to record a podcast or go to their kids' basketball game or make dinner for their husband or wife or generally have a life. Shane, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everybody who you are, what you do, how you've suddenly gotten busier this year, and let's dig down and see if the myth is true.
Yeah, well, thanks, Ed. Yeah, it's been interesting this year. My name is Shane Phelps. Part owner of Hemlock Financial Group, going through a merger with another company, looking to acquire more. So we are needing somebody to examine our head for what we're wanting to accomplish here.
Right, right. Maybe we need to
we,
get
yeah,
a board licensed
yeah,
therapist
very much
on,
so.
on our
So
next episode.
the a lot of what we do is really a deep dive into people's financial lives. So, yeah, it is tough, filling out tax returns, but it's not just the tax return. It's, the story from the client. It's a lot of information from the client that you just don't really expect when you're filling out taxes.
Hmm.
So when we send long forms out, people get a little upset, and we're like, we need more information about you. How can we save you money? Um,
And there you go. There you go. People start with this assumption that it's tax time. The tax return is a speed bump that I need to get over, and I want to put it behind me as quickly as possible.
mhm.
And for a small number of taxpayers, that may be true, but a lot of people aren't aware that there are planning opportunities.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
continue.
Yeah, and that's really, Ed, where a lot of what you teach, business owners, people even with a side business, you don't really think about how much of what am I doing today that's either costing me money in taxes or saving me money, because at some point whatever you're doing is either saving or costing. There's not a lot of neutral ground there.
Okay.
So what we try to help educate our clients a bit each year, try to educate more and more, is let's try this strategy, let's do this next year, because at the end of the day, the money that they're spending on taxes can either go to taxes, or if we're smart, we put a plan, we start strategizing, that money goes back in their pocket. So it's the same money, and we can get you a pay raise with the exact same money, depending on what kind of strategies we start using.
Okay.
So that's really, where our business, where our firm, we are extremely busy, because we're not just, plugging some numbers in. Because at the
Right.
end of the day, the tax return is basically the Cliff's Notes version of what happened in your life that year.
Yeah,
Um,
it's in a way it is your report card as a
it is.
grown up, and I know that's a terrible
Mhm.
thing to say that your report
No,
card comes
no,
down to your income. It doesn't come down to
no.
whether you're kind to people and feed stray animals and are a wonderful person, a
Mhm.
wonderful parent, and a wonderful friend. But as far as the finances are concerned, yeah, the 1040 is the closest thing that
Mhm.
most people are going to get to a report card in a year.
It is. And ultimately, at the end of the day, one thing looking back in school and college and so forth, nobody really talks about it. Nobody teaches it. It's something you deal with from the day you get your first job till
Hmm.
you die.
Right.
You're dealing with taxes. and it's probably one of the most misunderstood arenas in all of finances because
And
the code is so complicated. And it's not, I tell everybody, the IRS isn't our enemy, it's the Internal Revenue Code. That's what we're battling. And if we're
right.
good, if we're smart, we can use the code like a roadmap of what not to do, which is going to tell you what to do. What can I do? What can I do there? Well, it says I can't do this, but it doesn't say I can't do that. So
Right, but the road to getting to planning can be long for some people. And you're right, they don't teach taxes.
yeah,
And it's a taboo subject. People like to complain about taxes. They like to blame the IRS, and it's not the IRS that passes the rules that make everything so difficult. That's Congress. They like to blame the IRS, but they're not going to talk about themselves. There are people who will show literally every inch of their body on OnlyFans, but would not talk about their taxes.
it's funny you say that. I tell people, especially our tax preparers and people we work with, listen, the client has to feel comfortable with you because if you give somebody the option of, let me see all of your finances or get naked, there's a big chunk of people that are going to like, hey, do I just take my clothes off here?
People like, I'm unbuttoning my shirt here because I don't want to show you my taxes.
Because I find a lot of people are either ashamed, embarrassed, or they just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really sad place to be because money affects every area of your life. What I don't say, what kind of a parent am I, but what things can we afford? It can also affect your education level, what school you go to, what private school, college. It's just a lot of things that factor into it. But at the end of the day,
right. Everybody has a relationship with money.
we do.
For most people, that's a dysfunctional relationship. Sometimes it's an abusive relationship with money, and it's usually money that's abusing the person who has that relationship. There are very few people who have a self-actualized relationship with money, who have a philosophy. What does money mean to me? Does it mean status and prestige? Does it mean fun? Does it mean security? Does it mean respect? I mean, money can bring so many things.
It does.
And yeah, I wanted to jump in at, if you're talking business owners, you never want to have this conversation. Like when I have somebody like Ed Lyon and I tell people, they don't want to admit, well, I'm making too much or I'm not making, I can't tell you. And that is the shame part of it is, guess what? There are people out there like Ed Lyon, like yourself, Shane, that can literally change your life, change where you're going to be traveling, change where your trajectory of your business the next year, all these different things, as long as you could be humble enough to say, I'm going to sit down with that person.
Right. As long as you have the courage and the trust in that person to take that first step, it really can be life-changing. And certainly for me, I have moved on from preparing taxes. I don't prepare taxes as part of my work anymore because I want to move on to the life-changing stuff. But the life-changing stuff starts with the tax returns. So Shane, tell me a little bit more about your firm. You mentioned tax preparers, plural. Start out with how many returns do you think you're going to do this year? Tell me a little bit about the process, the stresses, and what it's really like inside a busy tax firm during tax season.
We will do about 2,300 returns this year.
Okay.
We're looking at probably 40%, maybe 45% are businesses.
Okay.
So
and that's a pretty high percentage of businesses for an accounting firm.
It is.
Most tax preparers are working primarily with individuals.
We when we started looking for firms, we were looking for firms that really specifically catered toward more business type situations because, quite frankly, we just have bigger impact with business owners. Not that we can't help W-2 earners, we do. It's just that there's more opportunity there. We can do a deep dive not only into the business, but now how does it relate to them personally? How do we, bring somebody in the door, explain to them, okay, your books, there's accounting in your business and there's bookkeeping in the business. They're not the same. Bookkeeping is a part of accounting. Bookkeeping is the data entry portion of the accounting. To kind of give you an example of the difference, brought on a chiropractor, had purchased a bed, chiropractic adjustment bed. He was listed in his books, equipment purchased, but there was nothing beside a description, just asked what it was. Okay. It was an adjustment bed. Oh, okay, great. Is anything special about it? I didn't ask this. My business partner did. And the guy said, oh, yeah. I said, that's what we use. That's the bed we use for people that are in wheelchairs. Well, it went from a tax deduction to about a $3,800 tax credit.
Credit, right.
It was not something that came off what he earned. It's now off the bottom line of what you owe.
Right. That's so just to make sure everybody's with us, a tax deduction lowers your taxable income. So if you're in the 25%, well, if you're in the 24% bracket, $1 of deduction will save you 24 cents. And that's great. That's 24 cents that comes back in your pocket. A tax credit comes off your actual tax bill. So $3,800 of credit is $3,800 back in your pocket. It is a big deal. Big distinction.
Yes. So once you're able to see, that type of impact, people start to realize now, okay, there's more to this than what I was seeing. There's more to this than what I thought. We see ads, everywhere, bookkeeping, cheap bookkeeping, dirt cheap bookkeeping. I saw that ad. Right. So how much money are you saving by doing
bookkeeping from people who have never heard the expression, you get what you pay for?
Yeah, somebody's never bought dirt. No. So we're at a point that I think there's so much misinformation out there. There's, experts in the field that have never done the work. They've heard of it. Unfortunately, we don't really learn about business in school either, do we? A lot of people are very successful in business in spite of. We see people. A lot of our clients, we find over the years, they're either really good at the front half of the business or the back half. Very few are really good at the back half. The front half of the business, where the sales happen, the service happens.
Right.
For example,
there's like an electrician. There's not a class in med school that says how to run a medical office. No. There's not a class in law school that says how to run a law firm.
Yeah. Understanding, I can make a sale. Say I was an electrician, for example, I worked for somebody for 10 years. Hey, you know what? They're making a lot of money off of me. I'm going to go start my own. And I can do the work. I can bid the job, but I don't really understand anything else. I know how to get paid. I know how to send an invoice. And I know how to pay insurance. But I don't really fully understand all of these decisions I'm making every day. Is it costing me money in taxes? Is it saving me money in taxes? Where are we through all these steps where somebody's there to walk beside me? I can pick up a phone call, have a question, or do I just have my wife do books?
Right.
Because that's all it is, right? It's just bookkeeping. It's not. So
no, it's not.
No, at all. And we bring clients in, especially business owners. We try to find out, hey, who's doing your books? Who's doing your accounting? Oh, so-and-so's doing my books. Well, who's doing your accounting? I don't know what you mean. Well, my books are getting done. Right. Let me explain. And then use chiropractor example. And people start kind of, okay, well, how does that apply to me? Well, in your business, did you do this? Did you do that? If it's an office, did you, make a handicap bathroom? Did you, these are things that if it's not in your books and you go take your books to your normal accountant and say, here, I need this filled out, and they don't ask questions, they're not getting your story, you just get, and that's where it's important to really know the story. Your books tell the story, and hopefully we tell it really well, because that's what we call, hey, what was this purchase? What was that? There's a check. What was that for? Is there anything special about that? You start to now build the story. You paint the picture. So if the IRS does an audit, we know how to document. What's the 3 Ds of taxes? The first one is document. Second one, a little bit like the first, document. And that third one, it's kind of like the second one, document.
Okay.
So if you ever audit,
it's like the first rule of Tax Club.
Pretty much.
Uh-huh.
Document everything. Write the names, write the dates, write who you're with, what you were, what was going on, because
Sure.
these things matter. They matter.
I like the expression that you used. We start to tell the story.
Mhm.
Bookkeeping is foundational and
Mhm.
important, but it is recording history.
It is.
Writing the story helps a business owner make decisions about their business. Hey,
Mhm.
should I be spending more money here, less money there? Where am I making
Mhm.
my money? I
Mhm.
may be getting a lot of revenue from a particular source, but is that profitable revenue? Or am I just doing a lot of work and not really making any profit from it while a smaller portion of my work may be more profitable? So I should be
Mhm.
shifting from the stuff where I'm not making money to the stuff where I am making money. And so many business owners focus on the front end of the business. Okay, I'm going to sell
Mhm.
more.
Right.
And I'm losing money in my business. So the answer is to sell more. Well, if you're selling unprofitable business, you're
Right.
just going to keep digging your hole deeper. So
Very
at the
true.
business level, obviously, you're telling the story, but even at the individual level, you're telling the story. You're making decisions about things like retirement planning. If you'd
Mhm.
like to retire someday, which a lot of Americans would, then let's talk about the different tax strategies for your retirement savings. Should you be putting money into your employer's 401k? Should you
Mhm.
be investing somewhere outside your 401k?
Mhm.
What if you're a doctor and you're working for a big medical group, you're making a nice salary, $800,000. Well, your 401k contribution limit is the same 24,500 as the nurse practitioner making 200,000 and as the RN making 100,000 and the appointment scheduler in the front office who's
Mhm.
making 46,000. But if you're the $800,000 a year person and you want to retire on 800,000 a year of income, you're going to need more than your 401k. So a good tax person can help you figure out, well, we've exhausted your pre-tax
Mhm.
savings. Maybe you should be looking at some form of a Roth. Maybe you should be looking at some form of non-qualified deferred compensation. Maybe you can use permanent cash value life insurance to help save for retirement. You're telling a more valuable story.
Right.
There's the first grade story, which is you owe 20,000 or you're getting a $3,000 refund.
Mm.
That's like reading Jack and Jill Go Up the Hill. But as you tell better story, we can go to chapter books that
Mm.
the third graders read, or we can go to the textbooks that the college kids read. So it's a better story.
It is.
So how the hell do you tell valuable stories when you've got 2,300 tax returns to do?
Very carefully, quickly, through extensions.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it. Well, we'll take a first year client, for example. I know a lot of clients don't really want to jump through hoops, fill out this long intake form. You know,
Hmm.
my old CPA, they filled it out for me. They did this, they did that. Now, part of it is if I just assume I know your story, I may not know your story. And
Right.
I'm assuming I'm putting my assumptions and my thoughts down here for you. Getting to the tax planning is not just a cookie cutter program for everybody. Not the way we
Right.
do it.
Right.
Everyone is different. You might have the $800,000 doctor who works with another $800,000 doctor. That one doctor may have one child, one may have four, one may be more concerned about college than the other. There might be maybe this doctor just loves his job and he's going to work as long as he can. The other guy wants to get out at 55. What do
Sure.
we do?
And the
Where's
guy
the
the guy who wants to get out at 55 also has 300,000 in student loans that the other doctor doesn't have because he's older and he went to med school when it wasn't as expensive, or his parents were able to put him through med school. Lots of different situations, lots of different scenarios. Maybe one doctor is working in a clinic for low income and her husband is working for private equity, well, maybe they should be filing separately so that we can do an income-based repayment plan on the student loans. That's the kind of
Exactly.
stuff that most people have no clue is
Hmm.
out there.
Hmm.
And so when you ask for information, you're not doing it just because you want to make people unhappy. You're doing it because it
So
really is important, and it's not important just for the compliance to get the returns right. It's important to tell a better story.
it is. It's important to tell the client story each and every time. And quite frankly, at some point, we start to help them tell the story. We now help them imagine a better story.
Hmm.
So, like the doctor, that we can, maybe we introduce them to different business opportunities that now we have different strategies we can use. Maybe we can now show a much lower income. So,
Hmm.
on his student loan repayment program, we've saved enormous amount of money, and now we're able to continue to do other things. Let's build wealth somewhere else. Let's
Right.
find a way to retire. As a
And,
business owner, I
and
think
Bill,
business owners are in one of two categories: pre-sale or sale. I'm in sale
right.
mode or I'm in pre-sale. That's it.
Mhm.
And we have to tell the story for the business during pre-sale, and we didn't have enough time to use strategies that we're not taking a bunch of deductions in the business. Maybe we now take depreciation in the business. We
Mhm.
re-strategize what we're doing. We now dump a lot of income to the business owner, so the business is showing maximum profits. We now use strategies for the business owner instead of the business itself. So it
Right.
we
A
people
lot
just
of the value that you can deliver through tax planning doesn't necessarily show up in the actual taxes. So the example we talked about earlier with the student loan repayment, income-based repayments. So you're making a tax decision for the spouses to file separately. That creates savings not on the 1040, but
right.
in the student loan, or
Mhm.
for retired people, for example, who are looking at their income related Medicare adjustments, IRMA, which is a new term for a lot of people. Because this is a new levy, and someone who can do some tax planning to bring their personal income down, not only are they going to save on taxes, but they're also going to save on those IRMA adjustments.
Mhm. Yeah. Hitting tax planning for retirement as early as possible is a big deal. And when we're building up, the get the flywheel spinning, if you will, to really start to generate some interest, to really start to compound what we're doing, we implement tax strategies during that time as well, so we can get more money into it. It grows faster. So when you're in retirement, are we looking at taxable income or tax-free income, or income that comes in that's just not taxed, and we do something different with it? What do we need to do here? I think 4 years ago, I think Medicare CMS had released information that the average person in retirement, the average person, not couple, was going to spend out of pocket $300,000 for healthcare, out of pocket.
Wow.
So
That was four
what do
years
we
ago.
see coming?
It's only gone up.
Mm-hmm. And that was how long ago? So now where we are, if you're looking today and saying, "Hey, I'm going to retire in 10 years," and we've got $1 million for my wife and I. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, take out 600 grand. That's
Right.
what you've got to live on.
Yeah.
So we need to step back. How do we plan for this? What do
Mhm.
we do? How do we structure our estate before we get here?
Mhm.
Do I have a business that I'm selling? Am I going to have, this? I'm 64, so I'm selling everything, and I've suddenly got this huge income, and now I pay some hefty, we'll just say penalties, because I made a lot of money before I retired at 65, and now I
Mhm.
pay extra Medicare premiums.
Right.
Pay extra on the
Right.
Part D or my Medicare Advantage, and then we get,
Yeah.
it's just,
It's a
it
lot
keeps
of
hitting.
moving parts.
It
It's
is.
a lot of stuff all coming together.
It really is. And the crazy thing is, all of this can be controlled at the tax level.
Hmm.
And it's hard to find somebody that has a team of people. And that's one great thing about our group, is we have a team of people. It's not one person that's supposed to know it all. One person
Right,
can't
right.
know it
You
all.
don't have one grizzled old accountant sitting at a battered desk in an office, You walk in, you say, "Hey, fully depreciated Frank, how you doing this year?" Hand him a stack of papers, wait for him to work some magic,
Hmm.
and walk out.
Yeah.
Having it. So tell me a little bit about the team that you've got. What are the roles? What are the positions on the team? I don't need to know who's filling the positions, but tell me, is there a quarterback? Is there a wide receiver? Is there a safety? Can the kicker get the crucial field goal?
Yeah, we have my business partner. He's the CPA.
Hmm.
I'm the finance tax planner guy who's trying to find a way to make your puzzle, all these pieces come together so that the picture looks how you want it to look.
Hmm.
So I come up with some ideas and strategies. I go to Zach. Hey, what do you think? Zach, and you say you're out of your mind. Nice try. Go back, do it again. And
But
he,
it, but, but
and
you're trying.
sometimes it's like,
The worst he can do is say no.
we can try.
Yeah.
I'm not going to send it to the IRS unless I get somebody's thumbs up. I
Yeah.
don't. They get a little prickly about that.
Hmm.
So we have three, four CPAs in the
Okay.
office. We have two EAs.
Hmm.
We have me, actually a certified Medicaid planner as well.
Okay.
So I really bring more to the table during that retirement, those retirement years, and the focus on that. How do we protect the assets, the estate, et cetera?
Hmm.
We have five tax preparers, six tax preparers right now,
Okay.
six, and we have seven on our accounting team.
Okay,
So
so
yeah,
that's a full service group. Tell me about the process. I decide that I want to become a client. How many people are going to look at my return? Is it going to be double checked by a human or by ChatGPT? What does that process look like?
yeah. We wish we could just have AI do it all, right?
Yeah, that would be great.
As we've
That's my
seen,
dream.
it makes stuff up though, so we got to be careful.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So when somebody comes in, they want to be a client. We figure out, number one, we kind of offer two different levels of tax planning. We call one is just a tax strategy. Just need to do something for this year. Maybe I'm
Hmm.
going to have sell something for this year. It's a one off kind of a deal. And maybe some people just want to go year by year, and that's okay too. And we also offer a tax plan. And with a tax plan, we kind of look and see what you've done over the last few years, where you are right now, where you're planning on being the next 3 to 5 years, maybe 7 years if we're fortunate to,
Hmm.
have tax laws that stay close to the same, great. But if not, we figure we probably get 3 to 5 years without massive change. And then we find out, if you own a business, when are you planning on selling? Are you handing it to your children? Or what's the goal there? When do
Hmm.
you want to retire? What do you want your retirement to look like? It's a lot of questions and it takes a while because, like I said, there's no cookie cutter way to do it. And I tell you, it's a double edged sword. It's double edged because, one, there's just no cookie cutter program. I can just put a whole bunch of people in it and, go about my merry way.
I mean, there are cookie cutter programs. I would clarify. I would say there's no
But
cookie cutter way to do it right. There
exactly.
are plenty of
Yeah.
people who look for the shortcuts.
Yeah. And you can sell a
So,
product. Hey, this is going to do this one great thing and run on. But one of the things I make sure, and it's very important to understand, is I do not want to do something this year that may have messed up something you've done previously or create a big tax bomb for you later down the road because
mhm,
I don't know what your strategies are. I don't know what your plans are. And these are important questions. If you're going to sell next year and I'm pulling some strategies where now you're going to have a lot of clawback and depreciation and things like that, it just doesn't help. We didn't create any savings for you. It's created a big problem for you and
yeah,
for
yeah,
us.
mhm,
So knowing what's going on, asking the questions, getting involved, husband and wife, it's imperative to me that both are we have to speak to both people.
mhm,
And it's amazing sometimes how different the desires are for retirement or when a business is selling or how it's going to be handled or what
sure,
have you. So we want to make sure, both people are included in what we do.
mhm,
Somebody may pass away. We need to make sure, there's understanding here. Sometimes we have to, hey, let's talk to the kids. You guys have a talk. Here's what we need to determine. If they have questions, call. Um, if not, you guys figure out, maybe nobody wants the business. We had a gentleman that had planned on his two children taking over his business. and they work for him, and they both said, no, I don't want this business. And you sell it, we're gone. We're doing something else.
Okay.
This first time he'd heard that.
Uh-huh.
So,
I don't have that problem. None of my kids are the least bit interested in my business.
I'm like, you work too much, and I don't want to do it.
Uh-huh.
So, but when we do our job, it's amazing to see the impact that we have. A year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, you see, or you have somebody come back. We had one client that there were so many deductions that were missed. His current tax person, bookkeepers, it was a disaster. He'd been paying, I don't know, 29,000 a year in taxes, pretty consistent.
Okay.
He got in there in his books. I'm like, no, this is wrong. That's wrong. I'm like, who did this? He ended up paying 9,000.
Oh, that's a nice difference.
Took the 20 grand, and he had been wanting to get his pilot's license and had been working on it for a while and didn't know this, but about 5 or 6 months, we were talking to him. He was calling and saying, hey, I've got, this going on with my business. I'm thinking about growing it. I'm thinking about, expanding. Do you think it'd be a good idea? And he said, by the way, you guys changed my life. I said, we did. I said, for the better, I hope.
Right.
And he said, the money you saved me on my taxes, I was able to get my pilot's license.
Wow.
And he said, that was a lifelong dream of mine.
Wow.
And you're just like, what you do matters.
What you do is mattered. That's a good lead into final topic I want to go through, and we touched on it just briefly a couple of times earlier, and that is AI. There are a lot of people who look at AI with a sense of hope and possibility, and they say, wouldn't it be great if AI could replace my need for an accountant? If AI could replace my need for a tax preparer? And there are a lot of people who expect that accountants are going to become about as rare as black swans when AI comes in. So I already see you shaking your head. So tell me a little bit about what AI has done for your firm and where it's not doing anything. What's your outlook on AI?
AI has a lot of potential. It really does. But I think where we are today, AI might be able to do some basic bookkeeping, but ultimately it can't tell the story. It doesn't know which questions to ask. It's not, it doesn't do the deep dive into you. Hey, I want AI to do my tax plan. That's amazing. Does it know which questions to ask? Does it know I need to figure out this time period? Here's what's going on. This time period, that's what's going to be going on. And I need to put something together for you. What does this look like? What does that look like? It doesn't know. Maybe it can do. I've seen people claim AI has filled out a basic 1040. It can probably do that. It can probably take information off of a W-2, put it in the 1040, and you're done. If that's all you need, maybe. But at the end of the day, if you're wanting to save money on your taxes, if you're really wanting to maximize your savings and maximize, here's the thing. When you sign the tax return, you tell the IRS, this is what I owe. Whether if we miss deductions or anything else, that's okay. You said you owe it. So you're going to owe it. So I don't know that we want to just trust AI to say, here's how much you owe. And okay, I agree. And I just sign it without having somebody look at it, without having somebody go over it, without having somebody to know to ask questions. Because at the end of the day, I don't think AI is going to be able to replace a human being doing accounting. It might be able to take numbers from an Excel sheet and plug them into to your accounting QuickBooks or whatever you use.
Right.
But it's not going to know why it got there. It's not going to understand this number. What got this number to here? That's what we do. And I think that's what it's always going to take a person to do. AI might be able to understand, the tax code. Does it also understand treasury regulations and how they integrate in? Does it understand state? Not all states are really easy. Some states are, you got state income tax, your county income tax, your city tax, school tax, water tax. I was just putting some of these states. I'm like, my God, man, why haven't you revolted by now? But
Sure, I'm in Ohio, and Ohio has a whole variety of local
mhm,
earnings taxes from
mhm,
different counties and cities. And I have met tax preparers who would say, "I'm not going to do Ohio returns
yes,
because it's a pain in the butt, and I don't know it." Pennsylvania doesn't allow for joint returns. California and New York don't allow 100% bonus depreciation that
right.
we got from the big beautiful bill. And sometimes AI is just out of date. So a couple months ago, Neil and I did a discussion here on the Lion's Share podcast where we took some tax questions and we fed them into different large language models. We got different answers. Grok took one of them and hit a home run. Did an adequate job on the other. ChatGPT did okay. Claude seemed to be the best. Meta completely fell down. Just swing and a miss.
Yeah, just because you're typing into AI doesn't mean it's gonna be the right answer.
Yeah.
And in tax returns, I think that it's you basically have to have prior knowledge of understanding the tax code in some sort of way to be able to use AI to help you to maybe circumvent the first part of the tax process. However, if you're looking at tax strategists and different things, you always want to have a human look it over after that.
Hmm.
You could maybe decrease the time, but you also could make it more time. So
Yeah.
that's the hard part.
Yeah.
It is. It truly is. And I will tell you this: not every CPA office is remotely the same. I find as we're looking to purchase and expand, acquire more firms. The variances that are out there are astounding.
Yeah.
And was it Money Magazine? Didn't they used to send out
Yeah.
they had this fictitious return? They would send it out to all these CPA firms and
They'd
tax
send it
firms.
out to 50 different tax preparers, and they would get
Mhm.
50 different
They
answers,
would every
and
year.
none of them would be
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
meaning none of the, and the job wasn't to embarrass the CPAs.
No,
It was to embarrass the system.
it's a
And the
terrible
system should,
system.
and the system that lets 50 different accountants in good faith prepare 50 different returns, that system should be embarrassed. That system should be hiding its face,
Mhm.
and not appearing in public. And Americans have been complaining about the complicated tax system
Mhm.
ever since, and everybody talks tax simplification, and yet the big beautiful bill last year made things more complicated. New deductions for tips, new deductions for overtime wages, new
Mhm.
deductions for interest on a new car loan for an American manufactured car. It
Mhm.
just all of these little loops and sub loops and
Yep,
subroutines and stuff.
yep.
Artificial intelligence may be smart enough to look at the tax system and say, "The heck with you." We're not
I'm waiting
interested.
to get by. Going, I don't want to touch this. You're on
Yeah,
your.
yeah. If artificial intelligence really is intelligent, it's going to shake its head and say, "What is wrong with you people?
I quit.
I quit." Yeah, I quit.
Well, I feel like we're Ed. A lot of the knowledge that you instill in people is beyond valuable. I see. I was looking at a firm today in Texas for sale, large firm. Their their business returns average about $600. Their personal returns are around $220.
That's insane.
I don't know how on God's green earth at those prices you can take time,
Yeah,
look at somebody in good faith and hand them something that beyond a shadow of a doubt is the best work you can possibly do.
yeah.
And I've taken time to research your situation and look at this and look at that. There's no way.
No,
There's just no way to do it.
no. You can't
Okay.
investigate a business for six hundred
No,
dollars. That's a
no.
drive-by shooting equivalent of a tax return.
You might as well let AI do it at that point.
You'll get a better, you get a better thing if you ask it to do research for like
Yeah,
with what we were talking about before, Ed, and how you could just have it go and do research all day long. But I
Yeah.
don't know what
Yep.
that's going to help you with. It's going to
uh-huh.
have you read the whole tax code, create an agent to read the entire tax code, then understand it and explain it to me, and then take it on each case basis. But
Mhm.
somebody is building that right now. I know they are.
Oh, multiple people are building it. All right. Shane, thanks so much for your
Yeah,
time. We
thank you.
appreciate it, especially during the middle of a busy tax season
Well,
in a firm that's going to prepare 2,300 returns. So thanks for your time. Great discussion. Would love to have you on again when you get up for air, maybe
yes,
after October 15th.
sounds great. I will hopefully be up for air by then. We'll see.
All right.
Okay.
Good seeing you. Take care.
All right. Remember to like and share and subscribe to the Lion Share podcast. Appreciate it, guys. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the Lion Share podcast.